Hey, welcome back to the Buck Junkies Podcast. We are back in our studio away from the farm today.
Away from the farm. It's still hot outside,
Hey, we got a hurricane coming. It's going to change things drastically, ain't it, Mikey?
Yep. We got about 4 inches of rain.
So you went down, before we get started, Mikey just ran down there today just to make sure everything's clear for this water we got coming. Why is that important? Because I wouldn't think about it. I was like, what can we do?
Well, when you get rain like we got coming with that much water falling on the ground and our ground like it is now, especially like the ones over that are not in the bottom, all that ground is like really hard and compacted right now. So a lot of it's just going to run off really fast. So checking your culverts, making sure they're, nothing's blocking them. There's several different things. Making sure there's no leaves or limbs. I mean, even at your own house, I mean, your culverts around your driveways and stuff like that.
Heck, your gutters.
That's what I was going to say. Your gutters on your house?
Yeah. So you need to make sure all that stuff's unclogged and the water's going to run off free, because if you don't, you might be in a bad situation.
We don't want it to blow a road out or blow a driveway out or cause a bigger problem than it's going to.
Yeah, you mess around and get a log in front of a culvert and it packs up with some old leaves or something like that. The water starts running over the top, your driveway's gone.
So here's my question. A lot of things this time of year, folks are waiting on rain events. Should you get seeds in the ground before a rain event like this? Or what's your downfalls? Or
we're not.
I'm going to say negative.
I would say no, because like a lot of our stuff's hilly. Even though we're way away from the coast, we're in the path of a lot of rain. And so it'll just wash those seeds away.
Yep. Your neighbor's going to get them.
Yeah, the neighbor's going to get them. But so we got rain coming, but more importantly, we got a special guest today.
Yeah. Jamie's gone to volleyball, and we got Mr. Ethan from Grilla, from Bog.
From Meat.
From Meat.
Yeah.
More importantly, meat.
Yeah, Meat.
That falls in the line.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming down. I know y'all been hard at it today at Mark's house.
Yeah.
Putting together a little outdoor kitchen. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we got Jamie set up. It was we thought it would be a cool morning, which it started out pretty good. And then about 30 minutes in, I looked at Ethan. I was like, "Man, are you sweating?" Because I'm over here like profusely sweating.
I had a black shirt on. You're the one sweating through your shirt.
Yeah, he gave me the old pantyhose thin one. You can see everything through it once I got it wet. But no, we've been busy today. So
Ethan, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm over the marketing for Grilla and Meat. If you're not familiar with Grilla or Meat, Grilla is our grilling brand, outdoor cooking, outdoor kitchens like we were talking about. Meat is our meat processing brand. So we cover everything from preparing, processing, preserving. So we've got your vacuum sealers and your slicers, the full get up with grinders, mixers, stuffers, everything to make sausage, completely break down an animal and get it to your freezer.
And then smoke it.
Yeah.
That's why when I heard that he was coming down today, I was like, this would be great to have on the podcast, as we could talk about, we spend some time talking about what to do with it afterwards, but we're hoping you can give us some insight on what's out there and what people could have at their deer camp or even at their home. Even if you're just hunting, you're feeding your family, some of these tools are important to have.
Yeah. I mean, you can, especially with our chamber vacuum sealers, you can get a good seal on that. It can be good in your freezer for a couple of years.
Yeah.
What I do a lot of times is if I've got a couple deer, I'll turn, especially like a doe, I'll turn that into pretty much all into sausage. You can either make deer brats. Last year I did like 50 pounds of summer sausage and hung it in the mammoth. That's what I do a lot of the time. And then I'll just keep the back straps as steaks, slice those up, or keep them in a whole loin and vacuum seal those.
That's the chamber vac has been a game changer for us.
We put up, I don't know how much sausage. It was 4 deer worth last year.
It was a lot.
Wasn't it?
And the thing about people's like, yeah, that chamber vac costs more, but it don't give you no issues. Like there's no sucking water in the vacuum seal or you can vacuum seal water. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. That makes it convenient and quick.
I started out with the old ones you get like
food saver.
Yeah, food saver. And I don't know how many I've ran through. They just don't last.
That thing's aggravating.
Yeah,
put that bag in there and it
don't
just seal. It watches moisture get in the seal, and then you seal it, and it doesn't seal.
Yeah.
What's cool, and the chamber vac, it's night and day. It's like the Cadillac of vacuum sealers.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we've got that one, like if we take it to an event, like everyone goes to that because we're sealing, like you said, you can seal liquids with it. So if you want to marinate something, it's also going to it'll speed up your marinade time because you can vacuum seal it and seal those juices into that meat and it'll probably vacuum seal twice as fast or marinate twice as fast.
We notice like with a lot of your normal style vacuum sealers, like you run 10, 12 bags through it, the sealer starts overheating. It don't seal. So you got to stop. Like with the chamber vac, I've never, like we put it through its paces last year and I've never had it even remotely think about overheating.
No.
As fast as I think Jamie was loading the bags, you were operating the machine. And as fast as he could load them, get them to you, you could seal them and take them out. There was no stop.
Yep.
Like the machine just keeps working. It just keeps working. And we probably did, it was at least like off a deer, we'll get, 50 pounds of sausage usually, something like that?
30 to 40.
Depends on size
of dough, we're usually getting about 25 because we keep the loins.
Yeah.
We pull the loins out.
We don't grind them.
Yeah. So it's just meat off the shoulder, meat off the hind quarter, stuff like that. So we're usually doing about 25, somewhere in that range on the dough.
Pounds of grindable meat. And then we add fat to it, so you get a little more. But it's freezer full. I know that.
We've I guess we've had the vacuum sealer, we've had the grinder, the slicer, the stuffer, the tumbler. That's
changed our summer sausage game.
Yeah.
We were we used to just buy the kits like you could get at Academy or Sportsman's Warehouse.
And some of them are pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. But, it tells you how much lean, how much fat, you mix it in best you can. You try to case it and smoke it however you do it, even in the oven. But when we went to a process where we used the mixer, and we ground the meat, then ground the fat, mixed it together, re-ground it. So we did 2 grinds with the meat grinder, which, man, it makes grinding a deer so easy.
It's fast.
It's fast.
So we've got them.
I didn't sure if I could say anything.
Yeah, we've got them on the site. So we've got a dual grind now, where it's just one pass. So it grinds it twice. Your coarse, it's got your fine and your coarse, and you can run it through in one pass. You don't have to do it twice.
That
gives you the perfect product for making sausage.
What does it have? Like double dyes in it?
It's got 2. It's just got 2 grinder plates essentially.
2 cutting blades and everything.
Yeah, with a gasket in between them.
So will that go on the grinder motor we already have?
Yeah, we do sell like separate attachment.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and order us one of those.
Yeah,
we'll make sure it works. We'll see if we'll test it out for you.
That is the tricky part, is double grinding. Yeah, you can run that first grind through there pretty quick, but the second grind, it doesn't matter the grinder. It's just more to handle.
Yeah,
because you can't drop big chunks of meat in there. You're having to move ground meat into the grinder, and it's just a slower process. So that's got to be 10 times quicker.
So what I've learned, and I'm no expert at it by any means, but we learned that we've got to keep the meat as cool as possible.
Yeah. For sure.
So whenever you grind it, it's out, and if you're like us in Mississippi, it's still pretty warm. I mean, it's not always 30 degrees when we're outside doing this. It's pretty warm. And the longer that meat sets out, the more it's kind of gets slick a little bit. Moisture starts coming out of it and makes it tougher to grind. And so we would grind and then go put the meat lug in the refrigerator or cooler or something, and then let it cool again and then come back and grind it. Well, that slows your process down a little bit. Being able to do it all at once. So I like to grind it first raw, and then that it's already ground. You mix your fat and your lean and all your seasoning and then re-grind. But this way you could probably just season everything all at once and then run it through, and it's already ready to go.
That's what we do, and then just let the mixer do it. Because I don't know if you guys did you used to mix with your hands like in a meat lug?
But best we could, and that's challenging when you're trying to.
Oh, your hands will be cramping. And
oh man, but it doesn't get it worked in as good either.
No, you don't, because you got to extract those proteins and everything out of there. So using that mixer really gives you like the best final product you can get.
So what we found out, we would mix a little bit of water with it,
yeah,
and our seasonings, and run it in that mixer, and we would reverse. We would run it so many minutes in one direction, and then flip it around and run it so many minutes in reverse, and it gets the perfect mixture in your sausages.
To me, it completely changed the texture.
It makes the texture way better, because those proteins get pulled. Like, I don't know what they're doing.
It makes those, like, especially in summer sausage, it makes it a more uniform, consistent texture. Whereas before, like when we were mixing it by hand, like it was still good summer sausage, but it would want to like be clumpy. Like you'd have one, it would be parts of your slices of summer sausage would be more dense than the others.
Yeah, your taste is probably going to be the same, but more just getting that good consistency.
Well, it would crumble out on you sometimes. Right. I learned that. If it's not mixed properly and hadn't had enough.
Well, you create air pockets in your sausage if you don't have it pressed enough, and it's a lot of other things that go into it.
I don't know if I had to pick a piece of that was more important to me, I guess it'd be the grinder.
The grinder.
You got to be able to grind. And I'm used to. I mean, we even used an old handheld, and that sucks. I mean, that's how my papa used to. I remember they had it on a board, and they'd set it between two folding chairs, and one person would sit on the board on one side, and one would sit on the other. One guy would crank, and one guy would feed, and you just had a wash tub, and that's where the meat come out. And then when the guy cranking got tired, you would switch up. The other guy would grind, another guy would feed meat. And when you grind up a hog or a deer or anything like that, it's a process. It was a process.
So when you guys are stuffing, do you switch people too? If you're doing the manual,
we're not experts at the stuffing part. The only thing we've really stuffed has been the big casings of the summer sausage, and the way we have it mounted on a table, one of us has to put pretty good force on it to hold the thing down, and the other person's usually running the grinder and holding the casing because you got to put a pretty good grip on it to get it to extrude right. I mean,
you got to get a hold of it.
It ain't just like put it on there and just let it go. You blow it all out. You want to get the sausage casing tight. There's an art to it. Like sausage making is a true art.
See, he's playing you like a deck of cards.
Yeah.
He's setting you up.
What do you got now for me?
We have a motorized stuffer now. It's got a 25-pound canister on it. It's got a foot pedal. You can just run it all with one person, man. Just keep running sausage through it.
Probably need one of those. Man, you're going to make me spend some money today.
Snack sticks, brats, summer sausage. It comes with all those tubes for that. So.
See, I want to try snack sticks. I've never tried to make those before.
I just ate one before I walked in there.
Did you? I thought I smelled something. You burped while ago.
I love snack sticks.
Those are the toughest to make just because it's such a small diameter and it's easy to blow those casings out. But if you get a good system going with the motorized stuffer, you get a good sized table, you can really roll a lot of them.
See, I've tried to do it with old jerky shooter. He used to have the big old caulk gun. Man,
it don't work.
It wouldn't look like some cat turds when you got done. Like it was not good.
I don't like the extruded style of jerky. I mean, I guess that's fine if you do. I'm not judging you, but I just think, like, if I'm making jerky or something like that, I want it to be
thin sliced
jerky pieces.
Full muscle.
I don't want I'm not making jerky burger, which is what that's like by the time you do it. But even like in summer sausage, so we got a buddy up in Indiana, and he come down and he was telling us about all the summer sausage they make, and they don't case it. It's free-formed, and I don't like it near as much as in.
It's not as good.
It doesn't do the same thing.
It's smoked cured meatloaf.
That's exactly what it is. It's like a meatloaf instead of like
Jay.
Summer sausage. Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking Jay. Maybe that's how they like it.
But I mean,
I know we let him try ours, and he was like, "Oh, this is night and day different." He's like, "This is summer sausage."
So speaking of jerky, I've told him about Mitten and the jerky they make.
Yeah, R.W. Bond.
And see, Mitten just become a Grilla dealer. So I was like, you got to get up there. You got to get some of that jerky and his sausages. And pretty much everything that old man whooped up is jam up.
It's like old world jerky.
Yes.
It's really, really, really good.
From that butcher you were talking
about?
Yeah.
I was blown away.
I wish I had some of those, what was it, the potato and loaded potato?
Loaded baked potato smoked sausage.
We do have some.
Do we?
It's in the freezer.
It's in the freezer.
I've got 5 different kinds of their sausage, and we hadn't cooked any of it yet.
We might have to.
Which freezer are they in?
That out tomorrow.
It's in the freezer. Man. Dude, there's a blueberry goat cheese. It's an excellent like breakfast style sausage. They're not brats.
Yeah,
they're in brat shape. It's a fresh sausage.
Is it considered?
It's not an Italian sausage. It's just a sausage.
It's not a Polish sausage.
No, it's just a sausage. And he does all different kinds of flavors.
But
the consistency is like a brat, but the flavors it doesn't have. You know how? I mean, to me, bratwurst is a specific flavor. It's almost got a little
Italian, fennel.
Yeah, a little seasoning to it. Its own bratwurst seasoning. You know.
But his sausages were good, and the jerky was to me some of the best texture I've had on jerky ever.
Have you done those before, Ethan? Those bratwurst?
I've made brats, but not like what you guys are talking about.
Dude, so when you do the skins or the casings or whatever, you stopping and twirling them, or you just run them all out and then come back do that?
No, run them all out, and then you run a U, like a big U.
Yeah.
And you pinch where your first brat length is, twist that once, and then put one of those long links through that hole.
Okay.
Like we could do a video about it, but it's the easiest way. And then you've got like, it looks like, like on a cartoon where all the sausage is laid out, and then you just cut those and throw your brats in.
Okay.
So every one of them's not tied off, basically.
They're twisted off, but if you've got the right consistency in your sausage, it doesn't
come out the end.
It doesn't come out the end.
Can you cut them into individual sausage when you cook them, or do you have to cook the whole rope?
No, you cut them into individual brats, put them in your bag and seal them.
Redskin sausages, what do you call them?
Linguinis?
No, Tom and Jerry ones.
So what is I never thought about this. What the heck's the redskin?
It's some kind of edible fibrous casing. That's all it is.
I've never thought about that. Like redskin sausage. What the heck is the redskin?
Yeah, how come you can eat that, but you can't eat the one on bologna?
I mean, you probably can, but it's gonna get tied up coming out.
So do y'all have, I'm sure y'all have redskin smoked sausage. You know,
yep.
Where you live?
Do y'all have bologna?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
well,
what
I mean, they did in Michigan.
Do you cut off? Oh yeah, they didn't, did they? But do you cut off on the redskin smoked sausage? Do you eat the outer casing? Or
I think I do
too.
Yeah.
But I don't peel my bologna. I mean, I always
next time you make a bologna sandwich, just leave the red rind on it. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, no, we need somebody to research that.
Part of the sausage.
I'll tell you
not
what.
on bologna. I don't sausage.
I'm talking the sausage.
One time we had a cat that got into a pack of bologna. He had him some hangers after he got through digesting.
Oh, pull rope.
It didn't digest.
It don't digest. I know that for a fact. I've never done it, but I've seen a cat running around with a piece
rope.
of it. Yeah, I didn't pull it. Heck no, that cat just work that out himself.
You own your own.
He was looking for some sticks to get hung on or something.
So, Ethan, what all do you normally in your deer season? What is your hunting season? Because you hunt more than just whitetail.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does your processing look like throughout the hunting season for you? Like, what all do you do? What all animals are you processing yourself, and kind of what does that look like for you?
I mean, anything I harvest myself, I'm gonna process it. I'm not taking it anywhere. I'd rather do it myself and know that I'm getting my own animal back, and knowing that I'm taking the time to put to create the right product. So for deer season this year or for last year, like I have everything. It depends on when I kill the deer, but if we plan on killing a couple more, we'll keep it in the freezer. We might have it in, big game bags or something still in the, like at least deboned and have all the meat in there. Then we'll get it out, probably 3 days before we want to process it, let it thaw a little bit, cut it up into chunks and start doing it.
Do you try to keep it as whole as possible before you get ready to process it?
Yeah, that's what I do. I like, we'll debone it, obviously, bring it back, and then we'll cut it. Like once we're ready, we'll cut it into the strips for the grinder throat. But we keep it whole.
That's what I've always tried to do.
Yeah.
I think it does better. Like you don't risk. I mean, because you're not vacuum sealing and that stuff. I'm sure.
Yeah,
you're just trying to put it in a freezer safe bag, get as much air as
for,
possible.
Maybe a month.
Yeah. It's not long term.
No.
Not long term at all. But you want to keep it in that whole form so that if anything does oxidize on the outside of it, it's easy to trim that off. And then when you cube it, you got fresh meat.
See, we always even if cut them up into like just cubes. We process a whole deer after we killed it. We might leave it in a refrigerator or a cooler or something for a while, and then cut it up like that. And like you were saying, I mean, over the years, like I'll debone the hams and leave the silver skin and all that on the thing, and just roll it up, and then vacuum seal it and put it in the freezer. And when you pull it out, you just clean it up and go to work.
That silver skin comes off easier. What I found, like,
especially if it's dry.
If it's dry, if you've let it dry age a little bit. But then when you take it out, I like to catch it before it's fully thawed. So it's still a little icy. Yeah. That way, when you're working on it, man, it really, really comes off easy. But I found also, like, if you're going to be using the grinder, the parts that you can take off, put those in the refrigerator. Get them cold as you can get them.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a big difference. Like even on the blades, like I'll take the blades, I'll set them in the freezer sometimes. That way when I put them back on, they're cold.
Well, people don't realize.
So it doesn't overheat the meat as you're trying to grind it.
And it's not so much getting the meat hot as the fat. Like when you get that fat hot, it just gets slimy. And I had a guy I was talking to, I don't know, it's been months back, but he was saying, well, I've never noticed that. And I was like, well, quality fat's going to melt. The better fat it is, the easier it is to melt.
Almost melts in your hand.
Yeah, like you get some like Wagyu beef, like it will melt in your hand. So like if your fat's not melting or it's not getting slimy, then most likely you just got some scrap. Like you don't have pure white, pretty fat like we're wanting. That fat we got from Home Place in them bags was jam up.
Excellent. I'd definitely get that again.
But it was just pure fat.
That was going to be a question I have for Ethan. A lot of times it's hard to find fat. You have to go out and search for it. You can't just go to the grocery store and ask them for their trimmings anymore. At least you can where we live. What do you recommend as far as processing goes when you're adding fat to your game to make a better texture?
I mean, we do, like, you can find it where we are, like at the butcher, but what a lot of us do, like we'll keep our trimmings. Like if we're doing briskets or if we're doing pork butts and we get some trim, we'll throw that in and vacuum seal it throughout the year. And by the time hunting season comes around, you got plenty of fat to process with. If that doesn't work, or if you don't have enough, you can't get your hands on any fat, we'll run and buy a few pork butts and mix that in.
It's convenient and it does work.
I've made a lot of breakfast sausage that way.
Yeah.
I've even mixed some of the ground like burger meat with chuck roast. Just because it cuts it and it gives it a little bit different flavor. I mean, it's not 100% wild at that point, but I mean, the fat we're getting is not wild fat either. So you're mixing either pork fat or beef fat.
I usually have too much beef fat between cooking and trimming briskets. I try to save as much of that. And honestly, there's been plenty of times where I forget I have it, and it's in the freezer and you need to get out and use it, but it works really, really well.
Do you prefer beef over pork or vice versa? What's your preference on mixing?
I've always used pork. And that's what I've used, but because a lot of times if I am doing briskets, I like to render that down as tallow, so then I'll save my pork for processing.
That's what we've been using, and just because we've got a farm south of us, not too far, that's got some excellent fat.
I don't know how they get it that clean.
It's pure like back fat or something.
It's as white as a sheet of paper. Like there is nothing in it.
It's not slick fat. I mean, there's different kinds of fat on an animal too. Like a cow has 4 or 5 different types of fat. So you can't just, get any fat trimming and say, oh, I'm going to mix that with my meat. You've got to make sure you want that good kidney fat, that good hard, white, flaky fat. That's the fat that makes a good sausage.
I'm ready. Might have to get some of that sausage out tonight. We're going to see what's back there.
I wish we had thought about it. I've got some. Mikey, you could have brought some summer sausage back from camp. Let him try some of our meat summer sausage we did last year.
So what temperature are you running the Mammoth on when you hanging your sausage?
As low as it'll go.
So was that 180?
Yeah, 180. That's what I did last year. It was, it was the coldest day of the year. I think the high was 2, and I ran that at 180.
I was 2.
Yeah, so it stayed on 180 for, I don't know how many hours I ran it, probably 6 hours to start. And then at the end, I did bump it up to 200.
What we try to get it to one internal on the summer sausage?
165.
165?
Yeah.
We try to do it in stages if we can, but our problem has been that our smokers didn't want to go that low. So,
because it's probably 70 degrees in December in Mississippi.
Yeah, well, I mean it is, and it's a challenge. That's a big challenge anytime you're trying to smoke something like that. I have done it at higher temperatures. It's not as good it's edible. It's okay, but the closer you can keep it to that 160 mark, the better you are, and that's why I like being able to put the Mammoth on 180.
So
it's excellent. It's excellent for. It's not really cold smoking, but it's low temp smoking. Yeah. And it's excellent for that.
It's about as low as you can get, I'd say, in a pellet grill, just because you got to maintain a fire. So
yeah. So what is the reason for that? Why is it better to be at a lower temp? What are you trying to do or not to do?
You're trying not to render the fat, not to melt it. And if you've ever
fast, it goes the fat. What it does is the fat starts cooking and it pushes out to the edges of the.
It gets waxy.
Yep, and it runs out to the edge. So if you ever cut summer sausage and you've seen that little white film around it, it might have got too hot or got too hot too fast. It's a slow process doing summer sausage.
I've paid good money from a processor and had sausage like that.
It's like eating a candlestick.
Oh yeah, you don't want to say when you go to one of your local processors and you price how much summer sausage is a stick, it's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not. It's no fast way to do it. You're not just going to get out there and whip it up one afternoon.
No, it's processed.
it's an all day deal, if not a day and a half.
The best thing to do is like do your. This is what I did last year, anyways. You do your processing the afternoon before. Get a couple of buddies and help give you a hand, and y'all split it up, or if they got deer or whatever, you do it all in one lick, and then stick it in the refrigerator. And leave it in those meat lugs and let it stay cool. And then the next day you can get up and you got plenty of time, because you start processing and then start trying to smoke. You're trying to get to that temperature. So depending on which grill you use is how long it's going to take to do that. You don't want to rush it. So, smoking it the next day helps out a lot.
Yeah, that's what we do. Leave it in the fridge overnight just so it sets up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you see like sausage recipe, old school sausage recipes and stuff, a lot of them recommend multiple rest.
Yep.
Like you'll grind it and season it. You'll let that rest before you stuff it. You'll stuff it. You'll let that rest overnight. Then the next day you smoke it. You still got to let it rest. You got to dip it in a water bath and take it out and let it set again before it's ready. So it's an involved process. This isn't something that you're going to do in 2 or 3 hours.
And I recommend doing this in hunting season when it's cold out, when you're not fighting flies.
Yeah.
Because if you try to do this in the spring or summer, you're pretty much not going to do it again. So you're going to hate it.
That was exactly what we're thinking, Mark. I mean, say all of us kill a deer. Well, you can take it home, freeze it, whatever. When we get ready to have our sausage making event, you bring your meat, and you do them in batches and try to keep them separated. That's the best way to do it, so you know what animals is whose. But it becomes like a communal event instead of just one person trying to tackle this whole sausage making process. And one person can do it. Like Mikey, you did a bunch last year solo.
50 pounds by myself.
And it wasn't fun.
I hired 2 boys to help me.
Had to hire some help.
Yeah, I give them some beer.
It's definitely, I mean, it's an event we look forward to back home. I mean, with my brother and dad, we'll get involved. We'll take a weekend. Hey, this is our sausage weekend. Take our couple deer from the year. But it's something we look forward to every year, just getting together.
Breakfast sausage. You do much of that?
I haven't yet, but I want to start doing, if I get a deer this year, I want to do some breakfast sausage, and I want to make that deer bacon.
I haven't tried the deer bacon.
That yet. Have you had it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
So what part did they, was it more like a buckboard bacon where they took some shoulders or hindquarter muscles and did it?
It's kind of cheating. I mean, it's
not the true belly of deer.
It's deer loaf is what it is.
Yeah.
So you grind it up, put it in a loaf pan. But if you've got, your maple seasonings and everything, mix in your maple, smoke it in your loaf pan so it sets up, and then you can cut it and run it through a slicer and get your actual bacon strips, and then put that on your griddle.
So it's more like a sausage product or ground product that starts with.
Yeah. So we're using any type of like glutamate or anything to make it adhere and stay in whole form?
I mean, you got to mix some fat in there, but
see, I wonder.
See, now I know where you're going with this. You could strip it and terrine it in there, but you could use that transglutinase
to slice it, and it would stay together.
It would look just like regular bacon if you were going to do that. And then you could keep from grinding it. You could add strips of meat. And so basically you're building these layers. You think of a piece of bacon, how it's got lean and then a strip of fat and then lean and a strip of fat.
I still have some.
You're getting us thinking now. I've never seen venison bacon like that.
Make some faux bacon.
Yeah, it would.
I mean, it's got to be.
It's got to be better than turkey bacon, right?
Yeah, turkey bacon pretty rough.
So that's kind of what the consistency is that you're talking about. It's kind of like turkey bacon, but it's all deer meat.
Have you done deer bologna yet?
Nope, I haven't.
That's on my bucket list too.
The seasoning that we use, we get from Townsend Spice over in Arkansas, and they have a bologna. It's like a bologna summer sausage, and it's the flavor, just like the R.W. Bond made that homemade bologna. It tastes just like that.
So this is off the subject. So what is bologna flavor? What is that flavor what is that spice that gives bologna the flavor it does?
I don't even know.
Because it's some kind of spice.
It is. It's a unique flavor, but it's got to be.
But I don't know what it is. Like I couldn't tell you.
I mean, it started out in Italy, from Bologna, so. But it's got to be some kind of, garlic. Bologna definitely has garlic in it. It has salt in it. It probably has a little onion or something. It's not really herby.
It's good.
If you go too far, it's going to turn into salami. And it doesn't have that citric. Like a lot of times, like in summer sausage, you'll add some citric acid or something to give it that little, like mustard. I think it's mustard seeds what we use. But it gives it that sour, just a touch of sourness. That's what makes some of those old world flavors. Well, bologna doesn't have that. So if you think of it as kind of a neutral summer sausage flavor, that's all it is.
What's been your number one wild game that's your favorite of everything? Well, let me back up. What all do you hunt? What have you harvested?
I mean, so I've harvested. I haven't really gone out west much. I've been once, so I've killed a mule deer. Then everything else is whitetail and turkeys. I would say my favorite thing overall though is elk backstrap.
I would probably have to agree.
Yeah,
it's pretty dang
incredible.
Good. Yeah, I've never got a chance to go elk hunt. Now I'll tell you what's close is axis deer. If you ever had axis,
really? No, I haven't had it.
It is right there with the elk.
Well, not to get on what we done this weekend, but what was that thing we eat this weekend?
Neil guy.
Yeah.
Did you try it?
No.
I've had it before, and it was really, really good.
I've had it like cooked rare, and it's really good. But anything past like 125, I don't see it. It is the leanest meat to walk this earth. Like it don't get any leaner.
I'm not a fan. Like even deer meat, I want to eat it rare to mid rare, unless I'm taking a roast and breaking it all. It's either there's no middle ground. It's got to be rare to mid rare, where it still has juice, it still has flavor, or it's got to be braised all the way. Yeah. Think like pot roast or something.
Like how you done those Brias tacos with that hind quarter? That was so good.
Shoulder, man.
Oh, that was a front shoulder.
You didn't think a front shoulder is very good, man. When you cook it like the Berea style tacos, oh man, it's fantastic.
So you mentioned turkey. What processing? I've never heard anybody talk about processing with turkey. Like it's just not a thing. Like what have you ever done anything besides just breasting one out or anything different?
So I have. You can take some of the breast, grind it up. If you want to, if you're getting full health, you can go turkey sausage and make some breakfast sausage and mix some of that seasoning in there.
I'm going to stop you there. I never thought about that until I met a guy who has alpha-gat.
Mm-hmm.
And he got it from turkey hunting. Ticks got on him, and it caused him to where he can't. And so now he makes all of his sausage and burger out of turkey.
You got to kill a crap load of turkeys.
Well, he said wild turkeys make some of the best breakfast sausage, just like you're talking about. But when he can't get all, he does like buy supermarket turkey.
Yeah.
To do it, but
I've done smash burgers. Now I've got other burgers on there, so I'm cooking them in beef grease. But,
you kill enough turkeys to grind? Man, then, what's that like?
I did keep the legs last year. I don't know if you guys normally keep the legs, but I kept them, and I just did like a whole crock pot slow cook thing, and then made tacos. I could have gone about another 4 hours in there.
I saw somebody doing that. Who was it cooking turkey legs in a crock pot last year? It might have been Meat Eater or somebody like that. But it just didn't look. It didn't look super appetizing.
Yeah.
Because, you dig out all the bones and those. You think of
tendons and
store-bought turkey has a lot of tendons and
that wild turkey ain't nothing but tendons.
Oh, man. There ain't.
It was an old guy I talked to, and I was asking, I said, man, I said, you ever, pulled up, just all the feathers off the turkey, cooked the turkey whole or done anything like that? And he was like, yeah, we have. I said, you do anything with the legs and the wings? He said, best thing to do with the legs and the wings, he said, take them off, put them in a pot, stew them for 2 or 3 hours, get all the flavor out of them, throw them in the garbage, and then
so you're basically making like a broth.
Just stock with them.
To make wild turkey stock.
So I wonder if you could sous vide them.
I'm sure you could.
And break them down.
I'm sure you could. I just don't. There just ain't a ton of meat on it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for very little reward.
You're not going to get that. State fair turkey leg,
brine turkey leg.
It's not like that.
It's just not like that.
No, that bird's
and the meat. And you want to talk about dark meat? It is dark.
Yeah,
it is dark. But you could. You don't have to pluck them. You can skin a turkey.
Yeah,
you can take the whole bird and do that if you wanted to. I've never seen it done. Have you ever tried to do it?
Never.
I would like to take one next year if somebody kills one and get done.
Somebody, you need to kill one.
I need to, but it ain't no guarantee.
No, it ain't.
But take it and either pluck it or skin it and make a big pot. Like take a crawfish pot and make stock. Just let it cook down. Throw some celery, onions, and use that stock. Man, use that stock for gumbo or whatever. At that point,
Let me get the breast off of it before you.
Yeah, definitely get the good bites off of it.
It's hard to beat.
Man, that bang bang turkey you done this year it's still one of my best bites.
It's one of the best bites of game there is.
It was delicious.
We've been marinating ours in buffalo sauce, so I'll cut them into little cubes, marinate them in buffalo rather than using egg for if you're going to fry it. Rather than using egg, use buffalo sauce and then use your flour, your seasoned salt, and your breadcrumbs, and make like turkey wraps out of that. That's amazing.
Oh, I bet. And you deep fry it then?
Yeah.
I've had like you done it, and then I think Jody brought some over that were cut up, and they ran it through like a meat tenderizer, so it was like minute turkey steak.
Yeah.
And you like pan fry it, man, it's
dang
dang good.
That recipe. I've got I think 2 breasts left.
It almost has like that rich, almost like deer. Like it's got a richness to it that.
Would you make like rice or gravy and something to go with it? So you're eating it like country fried turkey, basically?
I'd make some biscuits and mashed potatoes.
That's a recipe right there, country fried turkey.
Rice, we ain't trying to eat that good. We want some taters and biscuits.
So what did you do with it? You did a recipe on Buck Junkies
with
turkey. Yeah, but you did it on skewers or something, didn't you?
Yeah, I rolled them up like you do deer roll-ups almost. Well, not really. I don't remember if I put cream cheese in them or not. Hell, I don't remember.
You could.
Yeah, I think you did.
Anyways, just took the turkey and just marinated it for a little while, just a simple marinade, and then put cream cheese, jalapenos in them, and wrap them in bacon, then skewer them up, and then just cook them on the grill until the bacon's done. Well,
so turkey
to 165.
Yeah, yeah. Now, see, I wonder if you have to take wild turkey to 165, or if it's like duck or dove, you could eat it a little more undercooked.
I wouldn't be scared of it.
It's not going to have the same things that like processed store-bought turkey would have in it.
And plus, I mean, we talked about this on the barbecue side of things. Like 165 is just instant safe.
Yeah.
If you take it to 150, by the time you get it off the grill and go in the house and get ready to eat, it only has to be at 150 for X amount of minutes, which usually I think 150 is like 2 or 3 minutes. It's going to be there. It's done. It's the pasteurization temp that makes it safe. It's not that temperature. 165 is just instant. Yeah, like 165, it's good.
Man, I ain't playing with no turkey or no chicken. I'm cooking it to death. I done had food poisoning twice off that junk. I don't want it again.
I'm going to tell you,
died.
Some sous vide chicken breast at 145 is delicious. It is some of the best chicken breast you've ever had.
I've heard the texture of it's phenomenal like that. And imagine doing the wild turkey like that. I bet it would be.
Yeah.
You can sous vide in some butter and some seasoning, some herbs.
So, Ethan, you mentioned
you're
going on an antelope hunt this year?
I'm going to go next year. Wyoming, yeah.
I've never ate antelope. And to me, it ought to be about like a turkey tough as hell. Because I just see them bouncing around in the field like it. They got to be pretty lean, too.
I think you could make some sausage out of it, but I don't know. I've never had antelope. I've heard, depending on what they're eating, then if they're living in the sage, they're probably going to taste pretty sagey.
I didn't think about that because that's all that is out there, sage.
That mule deer I shot in Montana, it was a little sagey.
In a good way or a bad way?
You don't have to add sage to your sausage seasoning.
I'll just say the whitetail I killed in Missouri last year tastes way better than that mule deer.
I've never thought about that because that is all that's out there. Like it's just miles of just sage.
Huh. Have you guys noticed a difference now that you're like some deer you've killed on different areas than what you're killing now that you've got, you've had your food plots going for a couple of years?
We hadn't really noticed it in our heel deer. I wouldn't say you've noticed it.
We had them does last year that was marbled.
Way more, yeah.
In the backstrap.
I will say that. But where I've seen it, and I've seen it twice, this just stands out. Illinois deer taste totally different than Mississippi deer. The ones that have been eating corn and I'm sure our Delta deer probably taste a lot like those Illinois deer. But our deer, I mean, they're foragers and they're eating, mainly acre and anything they can eat. But it doesn't taste the same. But I got a chance to go out to Texas, 2 years ago, I think it was, and those deers they were high fence, so all they ate was protein and corn and I guess cottonseed or whatever that hulls or whatever it is they feed them, and those deer tasted phenomenal. It was like eating a cow that had been fed out on a feedlot. Yeah. Because there wasn't much there for them to eat naturally, so they depended on those guys at that ranch to feed them. And man, the bodies of them, like a grown mature buck there, if he was 150 pounds, he was a monster. Now they had racks; they done engineered their racks to be, 300 or 400 inches on some of them. But the meat was fantastic, and that's where I had the axis deer, and it was even better than the whitetail that had been, I guess, plan fed. I
mean, it's like when we go to
the duck hunt.
Yeah, we'll have to get you down there for that.
Oh yeah, you've been on a raised duck hole.
I haven't. But I'll do it.
Those ducks,
those mallard breasts right there are unreal.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. The flavor of it, and I guess
they
eat.
We've already told you about it, but we told our buddy Jay. I was like, "Yeah, we got some ducks on our hole." We never told him where we were going. We didn't tell him we was going to a duck farm. So when it got daylight, you go out there and it's literally hundreds of ducks just falling in a little water hole about the size of this room. He's like, "Oh, where's that chain link fence going? Why is it a chain link fence around the water hole?"
That was to keep predators out.
But no,
you can't really high fence ducks. I guess
those ducks can fly.
Oh no, they have like a roost pen across the farm, and they have I don't know how many holes it is. 10? 10 different blind setups.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe, yeah.
And then, like, they're different scenarios. Like, you might be hunting a woods hole, and you might be hunting just
That one we hunted last year was as close to realistic duck hunting as I've been out there.
They just come in droves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was real good duck hunting.
It's not duck hunting. You're just duck. It's like a live clay shoot. It's like if y'all heard of these guys, they're shooting pigeons out of the cans or whatever and having a live pigeon shoot.
No,
it's kind of like that. I mean, they're not launching these ducks. They're actually letting them go.
I mean, they're flying, and it's great for a dog. You get to work a dog.
Yeah.
You get to work a dog like that dog will never work in his life.
In a safe hole, too.
In a safe hole.
Yeah.
And then getting kids involved and getting them used to shooting a duck, or just
somebody never killed ducks.
Somebody ain't never killed ducks. I mean, Mississippi duck season sucks. You go out there and get your ducks for the year.
If you're an avid duck hunter, you're going to say this ain't duck.
Yeah, you're not going to like it
because you don't have to call. You don't have to set out decoys. You
can go out there and pet them if you want to.
You can't catch one. I don't know. A dog could probably catch one, but it's a lot of fun.
It is.
I would like to know the process of training these ducks to do that, because what I've heard, and I don't know how true it is or not, but they can't carry ducks over from year to year. So basically, they've got a duck farm. They buy 10,000, whatever it is, hens and drakes, and they raise them from a baby, and they put them in these fly cages first, and I guess so they can move around. And I guess what they start doing when they get certain age, they start feeding them at these holes, and so they know to come. Like if you got to eat, you got to go over here, and they lose some of them to predation. I mean, I guess hawks and coyotes and foxes are probably their number one things that kill the ducks besides the hunters. But at the end of the year, they have these hunts where they're like kill hunts.
Yeah.
They have to
call it the mallard flush.
Yeah, you have to
clear them out of there.
They have to kill all of them, and they have to do it before the snakes get too bad to do it. So it's pretty.
Think about
it's an interesting operation, and usually it runs from like October 1st to
April,
middle of March or April. Yeah, right at April 1st.
Is it a draw, or you just
pay
to do it?
Pay, and you don't have to. I don't even think you have to have a hunting license or stamp. You have to have a.
You have to fill a form out saying
card or something, or it's. I don't even know what the rule is on it, because you're not actually. It's not actually hunting.
A transport form.
Yeah, it's a transport form.
Yeah, because you might leave there with 40 ducks, and you get pulled over with the game more than 40 ducks. It's not going to be a good day for you.
Yeah.
Like
they're documented. They have to be documented. They were killed on that farm, and how many of each species, or each male or female.
And then you can't kill. You're not supposed to, which I guess is really no way of truly 100% knowing. But you're not supposed to kill any type of wild duck that actually was to fly in. If you had a pintail come in, like you can't legally shoot it.
Yeah, we did have some wood ducks come in one time.
We did, because it's right on the river over there.
It's on the Coldwater River.
Yeah. I imagine they lose some ducks that just decide to break out.
We just need to figure out how to get a boat into the Coldwater River right there by it.
I bet you people do.
Get right up river from it.
That's what people do back home at our our conservation areas. They're always along the river, along the Missouri, and people will go put their boats in. Maybe set up on a sandbar on the bank, but that's pretty common.
Trying to call them off the preserve,
refuge.
Off the refuge.
It's almost time.
It ain't gonna be long.
It's getting close.
Yeah.
Leave.
So you live in Missouri, right? That's where you hunt.
Central Missouri, yeah. So I hunt in northern Missouri. I'll turkey hunt in central Missouri, but I deer hunt mostly in northern Missouri.
When does your season kick off? Are you a bow hunter?
So we got 5 days, September 15th.
Wow, that's 2 weeks earlier than us.
So what's that terrain like in North Missouri?
It's pretty flat.
Is it flat?
Yeah, I mean, it's tons of ag. So once you get north of the Missouri River, it starts flattening out once you get out of the river bottoms and stuff. But it's where I hunt. It's pretty similar to your guys' farm though. There's we've got 3 draws running with a creek through the middle of it, so it's pretty similar. But primarily northern Missouri's relatively flat. Southern Missouri is where you get into the Ozarks and the hills.
Those deer eating ag crops. That's their primary food source.
Big body deer. Like we were talking about earlier, their diet. So I didn't start hunting in northern Missouri till 2 years ago, and those deer I've killed up there taste incredible compared to some of the other stuff I've shot in other parts of the state even. So
I want you to tell us about the Sandhill crane hunt. Did you get to go?
No, I was not on that Sandhill crane hunt. I wish. Yeah.
Yeah. That was one. I think you had asked me if I was going to be able to go, and I had something come up and couldn't go. I was like, man.
No, because I want to try it.
So bad.
They say it's ribeye of the sky is what they call it. I've never had Sandhill.
I don't even know if we have them in Mississippi.
We do.
Do we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not a season for it.
Oh.
Chisholm, they They usually shoot some of them. As I say, I was supposed to get them from.
Yeah, but are they killing those in Mississippi, or are they coming from another state?
I don't know. I assume they were killing them on their farm.
I don't know.
I don't know. I know years ago we got involved on a crane hunt because the catfish farmers pulled permits because they were.
It's a depredation hunt?
Yeah, and we done that, but it wasn't like sandhill. It was cranes, whatever it was. It was
You didn't
birds.
eat those,
I'm assuming we had a permit. The farmer said we had a permit.
Imagine there's a little fishy. Imagine there's a little
Eating catfish.
He said
He says we had a permit.
You didn't see it.
I didn't ask no questions.
So were you just shooting them off the water, or were they actually coming in and you were shooting them in the air?
No, we were shooting with high-powered rifles.
Oh,
We were shooting with 308s.
this wasn't
and-
shotguns.
No,
This
no.
just go out.
They was landing out in rice fields and around the catfish ponds.
I've heard of some farmers in our area pulling those depredation tags and get to shoot deer like that. And I'm pretty sure when they shoot them,
You got to leave them lay.
Leave them laying in the field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't mess with them.
That's
Can't
like
touch them
that's like CWD stuff. Do you guys have CWD zones
Yeah,
here?
Absolutely. Our county's in one right here.
Yeah.
for some reason.
And Tate County's in it too. I don't know. So the bad thing about the CWD things is it doesn't necessarily have to be in your county where you hunt.
Mm-hmm.
It could be in the neighboring county, and they automatically put you in it because it was found, and I guess they think the deers are going to move.
But did you know deer with CWD can't cross a levee?
Is that right?
Yeah,
Something pre-programmed in them.
yeah. Something. It's.
I don't have it over there.
Yeah, they don't have it on the levee. Like you go across the levee in Tunica, they can bait and feed and everything else, but that CWD deer won't cross that levee. But
What
you're
about Missouri? Are y'all CWD state?
Yeah, we've got a lot of counties that are in that CWD zone. So
It's not fun.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's.
We've been fortunate.
About too, that,
way
I mean,
less prevalent now.
I think it's been. I mean, it's been around forever.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't think.
Well,
I
who
think they
was
just
it?
started looking for it.
Who was telling us it was they were doing some research and it was like a mineral deficiency that they thought that was like part of the issue.
What caused it? I forget who we were talking to about that, but that's someone told us that.
Well, too, you think about look how much agriculture land has changed over the last 50 years. Where it could be, yes, there's a lot of stuff out there for them to eat, but I mean, what is all sprayed on them beans every week?
Yeah.
You know,
So you
I mean,
try to blame it on Roundup?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of things that's changed
Roundup
from 50
caused
years
CWD.
ago. Like that deer is not living in the same world it was 50 years ago.
Mhm. It takes. CWD takes a long time to kill them too. It's not like it's a fast.
No,
When they get it, I mean, they're carriers of it for a long time, and then I think that. I mean, it's something about it. It doesn't go away. Like it stays in the ground.
well, that and you
Even
have
when the
to-
animal's dead, they could get it from licking the dirt around it. So that's why they don't want you feeding.
it takes. I think we were talking to park ranger or somebody about it where they have to do the incinerator. Like it takes X amount of like temperature for it to
Yeah.
actually kill it. And it's
Almost
like
like
15,
cremating it
1600 degrees. Like
before
it's hot.
gone.
Yeah.
There's other animals that have that. I mean, it's kind of like mad cow disease. Or I forget what they call that, the official scientific name of it, but it's the disease. It's the prions cause that. That's why you're never supposed. Now, this was interesting. I had a guy. It was like the world's #1 small game hunter. His name's Kevin something. Do you remember his name? But they were talking about it at the squirrel thing, where he said no matter what you do of any animal, don't eat the brain, and that's a delicacy. He said they used to eat it when he was a kid. I mean, everybody's granddaddy probably ate brain and eggs if they hunted. I mean, and I know my papaw would eat pig brain and eggs, and they would eat squirrel brain and eggs. But that's where those prions are found. So he said, and this guy is like one of the #1 small game hunters in the world, said he would never again eat the brain of any animal because of what it could have in it.
Are you serious?
Yes, he flat said that.
They fed us squirrel brain ice cream.
I know. They were so that was what brought that up. Joe said that he had to tell everybody, eat it at your own risk or whatever.
They didn't tell me that. They just handed me a cup of ice cream and told me, here, try it.
It's squirrel brains.
They might have
They
figured
said
you already
put all
had
the
anything you
liquor
could have got.
Yeah.
They weren't worried about it.
Start stumbling around.
He looks a little wormy
looking for
already.
acorns. I'm gonna
Got it.
I'll take you to the hospital. Let them do some tests on you.
So Ethan, what does your hunting season look like this year? So you said bow season's coming up. Big bow hunter, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Is that primary what you hunt with, or?
Yeah, but I'll still get out. We have a lot more time. So for rifle season, we've only got about 2 weeks. So yeah, primarily I'll be bow hunting, but I'll still sit with the rifle and go up north and do that. It's just a little tougher. It's a little ways from my house, so I don't get to go as much. But I'll still get up there, go stay for a weekend and bow hunt. So that'll start in 5 days, and then come around middle of November is when we'll get into rifle season.
So when does y'all's rut usually hit?
About the same time as rifle season.
First part of November.
We've got some pretty big harvest numbers. There's a lot of mixed feelings about that, but it's right in the middle. In the past couple of years, we've had major cold fronts come through the night before season.
So it must be the rut has to be more consistent up north or something, to where the temperatures are more consistent, I guess, because
more consistent up there, so it's a little more predictable than it is here because ours is just everywhere.
like Jay can tell you the week. Like he tells me, like I was asking him, I said, "Hey, when do I need to come up there to hunt?" He's like, "Man, this date and this date's gonna be the best." I'm like, "How do you know that already?" Like we think it's gonna be second week of December usually ish.
Usually, I mean, that's usually what.
But it's never consistent for us. Or maybe it's harder for us to see because the deer population is so much higher.
That's what I was fixing to say. There's too many variables, and one of them is population density. Those does are going to have to get bred sometime. So you could have peak rut twice, because if they don't get bred, they'll come back and cycle. Those bucks still have to breed them, and we see it going on well into February after our deer season.
Yeah,
and then our bucks are holding their antlers until like
turkey season,
almost to turkey season. We were still seeing rack bucks, and when I started looking into it, a biologist says that they won't drop antlers until all the does are bred. So if there's still does out, and that's why we're still seeing little spotted fawns that are just showing up right now. They should have had those deer back in July. That's when if the rut would have been when they said it was,
right.
We should have been mid-July, 1st of August, seeing our fawns. Well, there's a lot of them that we're just now seeing with their mothers.
Yeah,
and so that means they're probably, 2 or 3 weeks old maybe. But those are late-bred deer, and I think so part of that, tracking that rut. When you look at the rut map of Mississippi, it's not in layers. It's like in sections, and there's like 20 of them across the state.
Yeah.
And you can look at the date, and the date ranges from early as like opening rifle season, which is like the weekend before Thanksgiving, all the way till after New Year's. That's a huge difference.
Ours is way more predictable than that. It's definitely middle of the month. I mean, sometimes it could vary, a week or two, but once we see those young bucks start fighting and sparring a little bit, that's pretty much the pre-rut. So
now, do y'all just have weekends of rifle season, or do you actually have it's open for a?
It's open for a period.
That's
through the week.
is too.
Yeah,
like I know in Illinois they didn't have a rifle season. It's like shotgun only twice,
straight wall
one muzzle loader.
Maybe
they may have changed that to where you could hunt with the straight wall weapons.
And then if you're in a CWD county, you get an extra week of rifle season.
That's I don't know if ours is extra week.
Dang, they give you gifts for CWD. They penalize us.
It might not quite be a week, but
we were getting like an extra buck and extra doe.
That one year, what we get?
And then
10. So that 1 year was
crazy.
Yeah, it was like 10 does per person.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never seen any. They want you to check these deer and I guess go through all these procedures, and then I hadn't seen any of the results of if it's working, if it's happening. I mean, they don't want
They say CWD's killing deer, but you got to kill the deer to test it for CWD.
It don't make no sense.
Test
it. Well, Ethan, man, we really appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us here today. We got to get you back down here and do some hunting.
I'd love to, man.
We're gonna, we'll do some processing. What if we just go and we shoot some stuff and then we process it?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's make sure we got 3 or 4 in the freezer for Ethan.
Yeah, before he comes.
Bring that foot pedal with you.
I'd love
Bring
to.
that foot pedal stuffer with
I'll
you.
do it, man. I'll do it.
We'll take you to our private duck hole.
We got a private lease.
Yeah.
Guaranteed ducks.
You don't need but 2 boxes of shells.
But no, is there anything you'd like to mention before we get out of here, plug, or just go right for it?
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. This is my second time down here, but it's always a blast. We got a couple more days to shoot some stuff, shoot some exciting content, and then, I guess maybe I'll come back this winter. We can do some meat stuff if you guys want to set up that shop at the farm. We can get you the full lineup up and shoot some content, get that stuffer down here.
Man, we can definitely do that.
Well,
we love hunting, but we love eating and cooking probably more so than
I think eating might outweigh the hunting a little bit.
It definitely does at my place.
Sounds like you can do that in those new blinds you guys got.
Oh yeah,
Pretty slick.
Well, Mark, you want to tell everybody where they can find
Yeah,
us?
man. Well, we appreciate y'all listening. Y'all can check us out on all the platforms at Buck Junkies. Mikey, we got a contest that just showed up.
We do. We're still running that contest. It's going to run till October the 1st. If you check out our Facebook page, there should be a post on that. It's small game month, so send me all your pictures of any small game. Doesn't matter if it's squirrels, rabbits, can be from last year, a couple of years ago. It can even be fish. Send it to me, and we're going to get you a $100 gift certificate to Mossy Oak Gamekeepers Butchery, and we'll also get you a Buck Junkies hat coming your way.
We'll take possums or coons.
Yeah, we'll take anything.
Well, we appreciate y'all listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
All right, we gone.